no recipe required. We're gonna go ahead and do another meal kit review for you. This one is HelloFresh. I've had a couple good meals from HelloFresh already, so I'm hoping this one stands up as well. This one we got Sriracha chicken. Chicken breast with some Sriracha and hoisin sauce kind of spread over the top to give it some flavor. A little bit of what I would call like broil or blasted broccoli we cook in the oven, and then some kind of sweet potato fries, not really fries, wedges, baked sweet potatoes, we'll call it that way. Looks pretty tasty, looks like it's going to come together pretty nicely, but of course we got to see, is it hard to make, is it easy to make, does the time hold out? This one says 35 minutes to make. We're going to go ahead and test that, see how long it takes me to do, and of course, does it taste any good? We'll go ahead, give everything a taste, give it a thumbs up, give it a thumbs down, let you know my take on it anyway, for what that's worth. And then we're gonna get going. All right, guys, let's go ahead and start on our prep for our Sriracha chicken. I'm gonna go ahead. They gave me 2 sweet potatoes here. It says to go ahead and cut them in 1/4-inch slices, which these are. It does not say to peel them, but I like to peel them. I don't really want to peel. So either that's a miss on the recipe card or just a difference in preference. I'm gonna go ahead and finish doing that off camera. They also sent over this package of broccoli florets. There's going to be little tiny ones in here. Those are good to go. If you got really big ones here, it says to go ahead and chop them into diced bite-sized pieces, which we're also going to do. We've got some scallions here, which we're going to dice up. You got to get rid of the little beard parts. Those aren't really edible. Then we've got the greens, the whites, which we're going to chop up, and we're going to keep those separate because they'll cook a little slower from the greens here, which we're also just going to give a quick chop to. And then the final bit of prep is for some ginger. Fresh ginger is absolutely awesome. It comes also not peeled, which is absolutely normal. I'm going to cut off, the end there is kind of dry and a little bit no good. To peel it, you can use a spoon, and actually just take the spoon and kind of rub the edges. That's a really good way to do it. Or if you just got a knife or even a vegetable peeler. Vegetable peeler gets a little bit tricky because it's not, you got these little crevices like that, which is why the spoon often works well or works better. But once you get the pieces peeled off, it says to mince 2 tablespoons worth. I think the easiest way, cut some pieces like this, put them on your cutting board, give it flat side of your knife a nice little whack. That crushes it, and then it becomes pretty easy to mince up. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to do this, I'm going to finish up my prep, and then we'll come back and we'll start cooking. Okay, so we've got our veggies now, all prepped up and ready to go. We're going to roast our vegetables, essentially use the same technique for both the broccoli and our sweet potatoes. That was a little bit of olive oil on the broccoli, a little bit of pepper, fresh ground if you got it. We're going to give it a toss and get the florets all coated with that olive oil. That's going to help them roast up nicely. And then I'm going to lay them on. I got a baking sheet here with sheet here. I think I made just a shit, sorry about that. With aluminum foil. My oven's preheated to 450, and we're going to put these into that oven for, it says 20 to 24 minutes. We'll check on them halfway through. I'm going to do the exact same thing with our sweet potatoes here. A little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt and pepper. I got another sheet right here. I'm going to roast them off, put them in the oven at the same time. Okay, so we just put our veggies in the oven, and the recipe has us moving on to our chicken breasts. I've got some paper towel here. It says to pat the chicken dry. It's going to come out kind of wet and slimy. That is absolutely normal. But you do want to use some paper towels, get them dried off. And then once we're dried off, I'm going to season both sides with salt and pepper. Then we're going to go back and cook them off. Alright, so we are ready to cook our chicken now. Has us taken a skillet or a pan or whatever you want to call this thing. A little bit of olive oil in the pan over medium heat. You want to make sure the pan is pretty hot. You're gonna hear a sizzle when the chicken goes down. You do want some caramelization on the chicken. And it says about 4 to 7 minutes per side. So we're just gonna lay those down. You only have to flip them once. I'm gonna go ahead and wash my cutting board so I can put the chicken back on it once it's cooked. All right, so the chicken behind me is cooking off. I'm gonna go ahead and flip it in just a second. What we're gonna do now, I didn't quite get all of it. There we go. Is mix our glaze. This is a package of honey that came in the HelloFresh box. This is a package of hoisin sauce, which I kind of think of as a Chinese barbecue sauce. We get that in there. Nice. And then we've got our Sriracha. Sometimes the scissors are just an easier way to go. And mix that together with 2 tablespoons of water. Call that 1. Call that 2. We're going to stir this together. Get it incorporated. I'm going to go flip our chicken. Our veggies are about halfway done, so we're going to take those out and show you them while we flip some of them and toss the broccoli. Okay, I got one of these little splash guards on my chicken, which I highly recommend. Chicken is done when you can, not done. Time to turn it over when you can see some browning on the sides and some opaqueness on the sides as well. Sometimes you're going to need to add a little bit more oil in the pan. And you may also want to turn the heat down just a little bit. This is awfully noisy. So we're gonna move this over here while I take a look at our veggies. Okay, so my veggies have gone for about 10 minutes or so. These sweet potatoes are soft, and I'm just gonna go through and flip them all over, give them a quick flip, and come back and finish those in just a second. This is our broccoli. It's already getting nice and brown. And what the directions have us doing is sprinkling a little bit, not a little bit, half of the ginger that we picked up earlier. Giving that a little toss. A little bit of olive oil. If it's looking dry, if you need a little bit more. This one looks okay. I'm just going to leave that with the ginger and give it a toss, and then we're going to go back into the oven for another 10 minutes. Okay, so our chicken now is cooked through. I can just tell by the feel. Another way, if you have a meat thermometer, go ahead and use a meat thermometer. It says if it needs more cooking, go ahead and throw it on the same tray with the broccoli. The other thing you can do is you set it on a plate. We're removing it, set it on a plate. If the juices that collect over the next few minutes look pink, it's still not quite done, needs a couple more minutes. Okay, so it's time to make the glaze for our chicken. I'm going to put the pan that we cooked our chicken back on kind of low, medium heat here. I pulled the broccoli out of the oven because it's nice and caramelized. The sweet potatoes need just a couple more minutes, so we're going to let them go while we finish up our chicken here. I'm going to add a drizzle of olive oil to that same pan that we were using before. We're going to add the scallion whites that we pulled off before, and I believe we're going to add the rest of our ginger that we added before. Now you don't want to go too hot. I like that medium-low temperature because all this they call it fond on the pan. You don't really want that to burn. You just want it to release and come up as we're cooking the glaze. And you want these vegetables to just soften a little bit. So we're going to go about 2 minutes. Let the ginger soften, the scallions soften. We got our chicken here, we got our glaze right here, which we're going to add, and finish our dish. Okay, so that ginger now is softened up, the scallions are softened up. Says we're going to add our glaze to our dish here. And we're going to bring this to a simmer. And this is going to help, hoisin especially has a bit of a rawness to it that really changes and evolves as it's just cooked out a little bit. So we're going to let this come up to a simmer, then we're going to add our chicken back in. Alright, so I just pulled our sweet potatoes out of the oven. Our hoisin has now come up to a simmer. I'm going to lower the heat down to just the lowest possible setting. I'm going to take our chicken, get it back in there, and any of these juices that came out, I say add right back in. That's additional flavor that will come out. And we're just going to let this chicken come back up to temperature a little bit and give it a couple flips to get it nicely coated on both sides. And then we are going to be ready to serve this up. Alright guys, so here is how the dish looks in the recipe card. Let's see how we do here. We're going to go ahead and start with our roasted sweet potatoes. All these little bits, that's caramelization, that's flavor, I love it. We're going to add those there. We've got our broccoli, same kind of thing. I actually find, again, the crunch on these brown bits of broccoli, I'm going to eat that one there. It's almost like fries in the olive oil, which is super, super nice. And there's our chicken. I've got some of the extra glaze in the sauce. We're going to go ahead, take a spoonful of that, throw it on there. There's our other chicken, enough glaze for that other piece of chicken. And then the final little touches, we've got some sesame seeds here, which we're going to garnish. If you really wanted to, you could give these sesame seeds a little toast. That would be nice. And then we've got our scallions as well, the green ones that we chopped earlier. Probably more scallions than you need, but use as much or as little as you'd like. And there we go with our Sriracha Cha-Cha chicken from HelloFresh. I'm gonna snap a pic or two and then we'll taste it. All right, guys. So our Sriracha Cha-Cha chicken is done. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a taste here. I'm gonna try the broccoli first, which actually I already tried and I know I like, but to prove it to you, I actually love cooking it this way. That brown caramelization, I think it's almost like fried broccoli. I think it tastes really, really nice that way. Same with the sweet potatoes. They have nice crispy edges from being roasted off in the oven at high temperature like that. But obviously, what you're really interested in is the chicken. I'm gonna we'll go ahead and cut into the center of it. It is cooked through, about 8 minutes. Sorry, 8 minutes total. 8 to 9 minutes total. About 4 minutes aside. Let's go ahead and give it a try with this glaze on it. So, it's nice. I'm a big fan of hoisin. That's the big flavor that comes through. I actually really like it. Even the sesame seeds on the top give it a little bit of texture component as your teeth are going through it. Barely any sriracha. If you have some extra and you really want it a little bit spicier, I would add a little bit more spice. Overall, I think the directions from the recipe card were pretty clear. The peeling of the sweet potatoes was my one, I don't know, am I supposed to eat the peel or not? I don't really like them, so I peeled them. The other thing I'd note is the sweet potatoes are probably going to take a little bit longer than the broccoli, so I might start those like 3 or 4 minutes ahead of the broccoli. Everything else came together really nicely. I like the flavors. I think they go really well together. The potato has that little bit of sweet texture, which is complements the hoisin. Broccoli. This is the best way to eat broccoli in my opinion. So I'm giving this one a thumbs up. HelloFresh did a great job. I thought it was nice and tasty. I'm going to go ahead and finish this for my meal. And I'll throw a link in the description. If you want to give HelloFresh a try, please do. Make sure you leave a comment if you do. Let me know how it goes for you. I'm always trying to get feedback. And I'll see you next time on The Recipe Required. So that was HelloFresh's Sriracha Cha-Cha chicken with the broccoli and the sweet potatoes. All came together really well. Direction cards were clear, were easy to follow. A couple missteps, but that I talked about, but not a big deal. Go ahead and give this one a try. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on The Recipe Required.